Okay, the video. I just tested the card to see how long it goes to. It just popped up and said size limit reached and that like so to press record again. But anyway, carry on where we left off. The two old women in the post office were being controlled by whoever, yeah. Probably the Queen. Remember, this is Royal Mail building, owned by them lot, like, yeah. They were talking about me as though I was a dog on a lead. Do you get me, like? And I did the same thing. By then, I was starting to get wise to it. I was like standing there looking at them, thinking, "So you're trying to make me flip out here again? Like, is it like Tweety Pie the other week, and now you're saying like Tweety Pie in a cage, right? And now they're talking about a dog on a lead that's like so dopey it won't even bark or it won't run away or it won't do anything. It's just so controlled and mind controlled. A dominatrix, a woman like Barbara Woodhouse, where it's like, sit, walkies. Do you understand the symbolism in it, guys? Yeah. And I just sort of looked at her and looked at the two women and I started realising it was the first time I sussed out. They probably haven't got a clue what they're talking about. Like, there's got to be someone controlling them for them to be so ridiculously stupid in public, like, to talk like that, like. So, do you get me what I'm saying? The keywords, the trigger, what they call triggers and keywords, they're designed to drive you up the wall or make you go, just knock it over the edge so that you do something in public. So imagine if I had flipped out there, how I would have looked. There's cameras filming everything in a post office and everything, isn't, in case there's any robberies or anything. Imagine it like, like the Tweety Pie incident. Imagine it go like, oh, you think that's funny, do you? Keeping your dog on a lead, eh? Eh? And they would have gone, what's wrong with you? We're only talking about our dog. What do you mean? What are you flipping out for? But it kept me cool, right? And I just looked at them. I looked at the dog as if to say, sure enough, it's a controlled animal. It wasn't like a dog that's like full of life and spirit and soul. You know what I mean? And that's what they want you to do. You see, they want you to be like an animal or a pet. And recently, this is a part of me targeted individual thing. Like in me back, there's definitely a chip because I can feel it itch. I mean, supposing I actually went to someone and they used one of them detectors or whatever, like like a thing that tells you if there's something there, like it gives off radiation or something like that, like. And the whole thing's become a joke to me. Do you know what I mean? I'm starting like laughing about it. Like nothing they can do makes me angry. And I kind of I won't say everything obviously because I could be watched by anyone. Like but well, this is still, that's another example, right, guys? There are two incidents that happened in the same place within a couple of weeks, and I knew they were trying to make me angry. I knew they were trying to make me react so that they could turn it against me, right? So, years later, I still carried on. I still carried on. I can tick that off now. Tweety and dog thing, it says it. Look, I'll show you where it says it, like, if you can read it, like, is it Tweety and dog thing covered, right? It's just something that's always been in my mind. And I think, I know, because some guys out there, right, who are TIs, right, they're not as cool as me. They haven't got, like, they haven't mastered it. They haven't got used to it, and they still could be on the verge of going over the edge. And you really need to get a control over that, guys. The rule is don't flip out. Don't let them drive you mad. You might, because I could have killed someone that day over a fucking toy in a cage, over a Tweety Pie toy. Let's put it this way, right? If it was like in America and you're allowed to carry guns, right? If I had a gun on me and I was in that post office that day I'd have gone. I would have flipped out. Because guns make you do things that you don't want to do, you see. This is the whole point of it, like, you get me? Like, where's, praise God that, nothing, it didn't go beyond that, like, I kept me cool, I didn't say anything about it, like. So anyway, years later, right, we're going to go skip a few years later to prove that, because I have seen some guys on YouTube who are really heavy duty, their targeted individual stuff goes so deep it's beyond belief, and they talk about it, and you think that they're mad. They sound like lunatics, but they're telling the truth. Years later, right, this is my next stage, it moved on. Where I was carrying on, staying in my house, I'd get stoned or whatever. You do sort of retreat into a madman zone usually. You normally start getting stoned or drinking too much when this kind of stuff happens to you, right, guys? If you can avoid that and get out and about every day, go cycling, go walking or whatever. See, I'm 51 now, so I don't really care anymore. Do you know what I mean? If I was a teenager or in my 20s, I'd be kind of like thinking, I've got to keep on the move, I've got to keep doing something so I don't go mad and that, like. But things continued to the extent, right, that I had people knocking on my door who were all potheads, right, where I sort of strayed back into smoking the weed and that, like. I'm thinking, look, me second major girlfriend has left me. She hates me and that. She probably sent people to kill me, I don't know, or to do me head and, like, eventually, like. It just never ends basically, unless you gotta focus forward and move forward and change things, like have a laugh, enjoy yourself, take time out. Well, anyway, it got to the point, right, where people were knocking on my door and continuously wanting to smoke light and spliffs in front of me, you know what I mean? And at the time, I mean, I admit now, guys, I have smoked tobacco when I was like 40 something. And I eventually succumbed to like having the odd spliff every now and then and smoking tobacco. But I sussed out how to conquer that and kill the habit of that, like, and pack it in and everything. I could tell people are interested out there. They want to know how to stop smoking tobacco. I can tell you, it's like how easy it is, like, you know what I mean? But the weed, it's medicinal and things. It can help, but it's illegal. You see, um, surprise, surprise, I've been busted twice for weed. Once for like carrying a little piece in my pocket, the police searched me, right? And another time I was growing it in my pad. I had like plants in my cupboard and that, like, and I'll go into that later on, right? It's part of the TI. Believe it or not, I was actually stitched up. People who knew around me were in on it. People who knew around me, they actually sort of procured it so that I got arrested, and the coppers took me plants and everything and me light and everything, you know what I mean? But because I hadn't been in trouble for so long, I only got a caution, right? Well, I won't go into the details on that. Like, I'll just tell you straight that, like, I've done that, like, where I've grown weed, and I didn't do it so that I was making it blatantly obvious. The coppers wouldn't have known anything about it, other than if it wasn't for me so-called people around me, people I knew, stitching me up basically. Like me mate coming up to me with the twigs, whipping me, like, people friends. It gets ridiculous. You start thinking to yourself, someone who I know is a traitor, man, and they're not letting on, and they still haven't admitted it to me, like, and I need to know, because I can't carry on like this, I want to be on my own. And lately I've been doing it again, where I've been staying on my own lately. People been inviting me to go to theirs and stuff, and say, come to ours for a drink and have a token, and I'll be like, nah, I'll stay in, like, because I don't feel like people are genuine anymore, if you know what I mean, like. Right, but it got to this point where, like, it's like gangs of lads all knocking on the door, and I'd take them in and say, let's all get stoned, you know what I mean? Let's get wrecked and that, like, whoa. And I used to suspect them. I used to think, like, these could be working for the Queen or something, like, and they're not telling me, like. It gets, like, ridiculously funny, like. And this was around the period where I was drinking the whiskey and stuff, right, guys? They were just trying everything to drive me up the wall, sort of thing, but I flipped out with one lad. He came in and I went mad with him. I was like, get out or I'll kill you. And he was like, I don't even know what I did wrong. He said to me brother, like, I didn't even do anything, man. He was just, and he flipped out on me. So they did it there, like, where they made it look like I was out of order, yeah. I have actually physically gone mad, lost my temper and that, like. But, this was like, he knocked on the door, this particular lad, right? And it was a bit strange because usually the daytime, afternoon, daytime, you don't really, I was the kind of person I'd sort of not want to get stoned until the evening, like, when it's time to go to bed or late evening, you want to listen to some tunes and that. But it got to the point where these lads were knocking on the door, say like 11 o'clock in the morning, and he'd say like, alright Bruce, you want to like, and listen, guys, I'll tell you, being honest with anyone who's watching, I have never signed my name on a piece of paper, right, to work for the police, right, or knowingly joined the military. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then they pay me, right? I've been used by them without being told, and this is what I'm leading up to now, right? But they've only done it. They only use you to like either get you killed in battle. Right, this is where we're going. This is where we're going. Whoa, way out into the fucking heavy duty. They send you to war so that if you get killed, they go like, oh wow, well that's what it's like in war, isn't it? You get killed. That's the way it is. Like, but in my mind, in my brain, it's an implant. Like, I'm just a dude that's never even gone abroad and didn't even own a passport at the time. Like Desert Storm syndrome and all kinds of things. Yeah, and I haven't even fucking got a fucking passport or even left the country. Like, right. I'll go into that in some more detail. But when you've got the feeling that someone's trying to kill you, or they want you to flip out or disappear or die even, like, that's where it gets heavy, like. But on a lighter note, this guy would knock on the door and he'd say, Bruce, I've got some weed, man, you want to do some knives? I don't know if any of yous out there, you've ever done what we call knives, where you get two hot knives and you put them on a stove, in a gas flame and that, like, and then you put the weed between the knives, you go, and you go through a tube or through a bottle or something, you go, and you get stoned through the thing, like, because this is the thing about the Queen and all them, like, all the people associated with her, they're all experts with drugs, but drugs are illegal. I've never been able to work that out, like, why they don't get arrested, like, they always seem to get away with it, like. But the point is, right, this lad was knocking on the door every morning, right, and it was like, he knocked on my door, guys, like, every day for like 2 weeks or something, non-stop, or nearly every day, and it was about the same time every day. And so he was the mark, if you know what I mean. He was the agent. He was the guy that had to sort of pin me in the space, and then they'd have a hypnotic code word or something, or the weed I was smoking was spiked. Right, spike. That's what they call a spike. Where you think you're smoking weed, and you go, then they go, like Arnie in the term in Total Recall, where he's like, he's a secret agent and everything, and he doesn't even know it. If you know what I mean, he doesn't even know it. Like, I mean, it's deep shit, right? But this guy, he'd come in, and he's me mate, he's me friend as far as I know, he's me mate. It's another scenario, another friend, another pal, another buddy, like, way, how's it going, man, let's get stoned and that. And I hadn't bought the weed, he brought it in, and you know what it's like if you're out there, guys, if you've got no money and you've got no weed, you're gonna smoke it, aren't you, if you're a pothead, like. You're gonna do it, they know you're gonna do it, they know you're gonna go, yeah, whoa. But he comes in and he'd be like, let's do these knives, man. And I'd go like that, right? And what was really peculiar about it, right, guys, and remember, I've never been paid by the police or the army or the military and told and said, like, sign my name on a dotted line and say, well, you give me like £500 a week and I'll be a soldier, or you give me £500 a week and I'll be a copper, like, and they go, yeah. If it's like that where you consciously agree and you know what's going on, fair enough. You can get every criminal on the planet to like literally lynch me in the street. If I knew what I was doing, like. But it's sort of funny, like, I've got to laugh, like, right, but at the time it wasn't. No, if you know what I mean. And this dude, he says to me, like, let's do some knives. And it was always knives. I don't know what they were creating. I don't know how they did it. It's some kind of black magic, guys. It's some kind of like control magic that they use on you, right? I should know. They've done it on me, and I thought I was a strong guy, and I sort of, I knew everything and everything. Like Arnie, you know what I mean? I thought I knew everything, like, but they still don't know how they did it, right? But anyway, he give me the knives and go, and you don't see nothing. And when a hypnotist hypnotizes someone, right? They'll say all kinds of things to you. They say jump up and down, like run round in circles and that, like, but you won't remember a thing. And then they do 3, 2, 1, you're back in the room, and you don't even know what's happened. You haven't got a clue. That's the danger of hypnosis, code words, trusting the wrong people. They can literally go, like, say a code word, can't they? Like, there's a film out there called Telephone, if anyone's interested. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Telephone, with Charles Bronson, the actor, not Charles Bronson, the guy in jail, like. And the film's all about Russian sleepers all in America, yeah. And they get a phone call. They've been trained to be sleepers for years, working in America, speaking American accents, everything. Next thing, they get a phone call. They pick the phone up, like, hello, how's it doing? Hello? And someone on the other side says a code word to them, and then they just go, put the phone down, get into the car with a load of explosives and do an act of terrorism. That's what I'm trying to point out to you guys, how the power of hypnosis and stuff like that, right? But it's an interesting subject to look into, right? But anyway, in this case, this guy gets me stoned every day, right? Totally trusted him, thought he was sound, friend, flashbacks of being whipped, like. And he'd just have a smoke, and then we'd sit down, play some music as I normally did, and then he'd get off, like, right. And this was going on for like a couple of weeks, as I said, like, right. And then in the area, there was a particular lad who used to sell drugs, who used to sell weed, and he was sound. He was a good lad. This particular lad. He never done anything wrong to me, and I'd never done anything wrong to him. He wasn't necessarily one of me mates, but he used to sort me out with weed and stuff, like, right. And I just so happened to see him knocking back. This lad who would knock on my door. I know it's getting complicated what I'm saying. I was actually in a room where the three of us were in the room, and I was scoring the weed off this dude who was okay, like, he used to sort us out, like. And this other lad didn't have any money, and said, can you do us a bit, like, till next week and that, like. And it was one of them weeks where the lad said, look, I need the cash, mate. You've got to pay me cash or I can't sort you, like, you know what I mean. And when some people get knocked back for a weed, they take it dead personally, and it's sort of like, I'll get you for that. Honestly, because it only takes a phone call, doesn't it? And the coppers, you only have to phone the police, don't they? And they can get you busted or whatever. Like, say I was a dealer and I turned someone down for the weed, I'd probably get arrested a week later. Do you get me, the way it works, the law of the jungle and that, like. But this lad, he was knocking on my door every day to give me a smoke, right. I was standing in the room and he was there and he gets refused, right. And his face, he was like, sort of like, and I was thinking, don't think nothing of it, like, I said, well, I've just scored, I'll sort you the toke, man, you know what I mean? And the lad who was standing there going, yeah, Bruce will give you the toke, what's the problem, like, you know what I mean? So I was like, no problem, like. Anyway, this guy's knocking on my door for weeks, or for days, saying, there's a toke of weed, Bruce, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Gives me the knives and that, right? And what was peculiar, right, is when he'd give me the knife, I go, and I got this sensation of like I'd either been hypnotised or mind controlled. I saw the link, right, and the reason I didn't see it, but I smelt it. I smelt it. I smelt the smell of fresh uniform. I don't know when or have you ever been to a sports shop and bought a brand new football kit or a brand new tracksuit, and you open the box and it's like, that fresh brand new smell. Like once you wore it a few times, it's gone forever, isn't it? But you can't mistake the smell of fresh uniform or football kit or whatever, right? But I'd have a toke of weed, and I actually said it to the lad. I went, "Wow, I can smell bandages or or uniform or something here, man. Don't know what that is like." And he was just standing looking like that. No, not saying anything, but looking suspicious. Didn't say anything, didn't even mention anything. He just be like that, looking at it and say. But he had to have an accomplice helping him, if you know what I mean. They work in teams, gang, stalkers, guys, yeah, right. And obviously, in your head, you're thinking they're doing you a favour, sorting you out, like, don't you? You know what I mean? You just that's the way that's the nature of humanity. You think, oh, this guy sorting me out with a toke, no problem. But anyway, weeks leading up to that, weeks after that, after me smoking this weed and seeing this guy being knocked back by another guy, remember, right? I get on a bus. No, sorry, another lad, another guy who was close to this lad, who he did the same thing. He'd knock on the door repeatedly, and he had this weird. It was like they were both working together, but they don't make it obvious. You never see them together at the same time, acting up. They split it into a triangle, if you know what I mean. They split your mind into two, and then a couple of weeks later, this one of the lads knocks on the door. Not the one who's giving me the knives, but another lad who I think was working with him. Like he sits down with me, like, and he mentions the guy who sells the weed, the one I said was sound. He goes like, "Have you heard so and so got busted?" I was like, "Nah," I was like sort of sad for him, you know what I mean? Thinking, oh nah, he got busted. Like, when you get busted, the cops come in, they take all your money. Her Majesty's coppers, guys, the Queen's men, all the King's horses and all the King's men, or all the Queen's horses and all the... Well, anyway, when you get busted, the police take everything, don't they? They take your weed, they take your money, you probably skim for a month, you even get done, don't you? You go to court, you might even go in do some time, depending on how many times you've been caught. It's a bit of a sad story, like, yeah, right? So I'm like that to this other lad going, oh, wow, I'm a bit fucking miffed about that, like, because he always sorted me, like, and it was always good stuff, do you get me, like? And he was, like, sitting there, like, going, yeah, yeah, but what the way he was talking, right? He was trying to make it look as though they had a camera filming or some kind of device or something watching us both. And he was talking about it as though it was something to do with me that he got busted. If you understand what I'm saying, right? It was his attitude was, so-and-so got busted, Bruce, yo. And I'm like, totally, I don't know anything about it, obviously. I haven't got a clue. And I'm thinking, first thing on my mind is like, oh man, he was sounding, man, I can't believe that, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, yeah. But he was putting an act on as if it was like, it wasn't anything to do with you, was it, by any chance? Like, do you get me? Like, and I'm thinking, why has he got an attitude like that towards me? Because I don't blow people up, guys, you know what I mean? I don't tell anyone. I certainly don't phone the police about things, let's put it that way. Like, I might tell me mum or people I knew and all that, like, oh, I'm getting a bit of weed or something, like. But anyway, cut a long story short, he got, he got busted, and apparently I heard rumour got back to me that he'd been, he got fined or something, and they took all his weed off him and everything, right? And what these guys do is they work with the law, and they smoke weed themselves. and they get the weed that's been busted. Do you get me? They get it and they don't tell anyone. This is what I found out in the long run, right? But this is the shitty part. This is the part where it's like it gets targeted individual or gang stalked, right? I gets on a bus. This is, say, a month after the whole incident, and a month after the guy's been knocking on my door, and I got smell bandages and new uniforms and that. Yeah, right. I'm sitting on a bus going to sign on or something. And, you know, if you ever sat on a bus, I don't know if you're from England or America or whatever, any viewers, I know I've got viewers in Canada and viewers in America and Australia, like, but in this country, right, in England, right, on buses, they have stickers on, like, on the, above the windows with an advert on, and it could be like, are you having problems? Call the Samaritans on this number, or you know, go to Halfords for a fucking bicycle reduced price this Christmas, or whatever. You know, just posters that are adverts, and they stick them on buses. It's a thing they do on our buses nowadays. Like, they still do it. Like, you know, well, that sits down on a bus, right? I'm thinking about it, targeted individual, you know, where someone's trying to frame you, right, guys, you know, so that you get into trouble and that, like. I sits down on a bus like that, just casually just looking out the window, like, and then I looked up at the sticker. There's a sticker right above me head on the bus, right? And I'm not exaggerating, right? The advert, it says something like, over 500 dealers were arrested last month. Right? Help the police prevent crime. Right, it wasn't about murderers or rapists or paedophiles, right, guys? The sticker is a picture, right, of three in big letters like 500 dealers were nicked last month. We're preventing crime on Merseyside. Help the police. Call this number if you see anything strange. Right. So I'm looking at the thing, and remember, I'm a pothead myself and that, right? So I looks at the picture, right? And there's a photograph, an actual photograph of three policemen, right? With, you know, the not like the coppers' helmets, you know, the you know what you call riot policemen or drug squad. You know, drug squad, the guys that bash your door down with a, they got a helmet on and a fucking visor and that, like, you know, them heavy dudes, like padded collars and Teflon fucking bulletproof jackets and that, right? Just so happens, right, this black and white photograph, and this was on all the buses in Merseyside, if you know what I mean. This would have been going round. Everyone that gets on a bus would have seen this picture, right? And there's a picture of like three coppers standing around one guy who's obviously the dealer who's just been busted. Right, he hasn't got a uniform on, and he's just a lad like standing there, like, you know, like two coppers are holding on to his arms, and one copper's standing behind him. You know, the photograph for the advert, like, right. The two coppers that were holding on to his arms, they had the helmet on and everything, right, and they had like a, you know, like a mask, you know, like what you wear when you don't want to be recognised. Like a scarf over your face. So all you could see was their eyes, the helmet's there, remember? And all you could see is their eyes like that, hanging on to this dude. So you can't even recognise who them two coppers were, right? But the third copper was me. Right. With no mask on. My face isn't covered. Do you get me? It had a helmet on, but you could clearly see this face, right? And imagine, when you see yourself in a photograph and you go, how the fucking hell did I get there? I don't even know how that's possible. But there's me standing there like that. Like, my face for everyone to see in a police uniform, like, guys. And the guy they were holding on to was the actual dude who used to buy me weed off that got busted, right? But he was just like, his face was covered with one of them, a black letterbox thing they put on a photograph, so that, like, just to hide the identity of someone, like discretion kind of thing, like, because it's like against the law, isn't it, to show people's identity if depending on the circumstance. And he's only being nicked for his weed, remember, it's not like he was a heavy duty, like. But the point is, right, guys, the two guys who had the two coppers who had the masks faces covered, you could only just see their eyes, right? I recognised them just from their eyes. I was thinking, hang on, that's the lad that was knocking on my door, giving me weed every morning, doing knives, because I could tell by the height. They're both taller than me, these two. The two I said they were working together. One of them was exceptionally tall, like a big lad, like a big dopey lad, like he was like quite big and very hard to mistake because of his physique and everything. And the other one was like a sort of thin, tall lad, taller than me. But they were so masked up and everything. They must have thought we were all fucking idiots or something, that no one would recognise them, if you get me, like. So can you picture the scene, like, guys? Imagine every dealer in town saw that picture on the bus, and they go like, wow, that's Bruce. Busting, won't say his name, but that's Bruce as a cop. Wow, I didn't know Bruce was a cop. Because, listen, guys, I didn't know either. You know what I mean? I was like, fucking fit, that's news to me, mate. But the two other lads, right, who they had to work together to sort it out, right? Remember when I said I smell fresh uniform? I could smell, because I always wear scruff. I don't know if you noticed, this is the night after I filmed this video, I'm still wearing the same t-shirt. I always wear the same clothes for ages, guys. I'm a bit of a tramp. Do you know what I mean? I'm not the kind of person that changes me clothes every day and that, right? When you smell fresh uniforms, it's something new, you know what I mean? So, you can clearly see, right, now that is a proper example of gang stalking TI to the max, and the Queen has to be in on it, hasn't she, for them to be police officers, right? These two guys, remember, have never told anyone they're both working for the police. But they had the fucking audacity to stand me in the picture. I must have been hypnotised or something. With a fucking helmet on and that, like, but you could clearly see my face. No letterbox on my eyes, no mask over my mouth, nothing. Just, like, they might as well put an arrow next to the picture saying, Bruce Williams. Do you know what I mean? They might as well have had my name in a bubble just to tell everyone who it was, like. But I'm standing there in a cop uniform, right? The poster says 500 dealers have been busted. Imagine what that must do to the area. All the dealers, like, who were like, some dealers are like gangsters, guys. They'll shoot you if they thought you was a narc or a snitch or something, like. Right. Now that is severe fucking gang stalking, that, mate, because that was like a severe attempt, right, for them to set me up. To get me fucking either killed or whatever, whatever people. But it seems, praise God Almighty, because the Lord God is always with me on these things, right? It's as though he's like, everyone uses their heads and think, like, if you know me well enough, they've gone like, nah, Bruce wouldn't do that, Bruce definitely wouldn't do that, and he wouldn't be like in a picture with his face showing, would he? Let's face it, like. So the two guys, right, in the picture, one of them's dead now. He died prematurely, guys. This is what I'm saying. Nearly everyone that's done targeted individual on me, or actually gang stalk me, right, they either end up in hospital, right, or die. I'm not kidding you, and I don't do it to them or nothing like that. It's just like it's just if they're up doing something that's like sort of really shady, and they're setting someone up in a bad way, right? Busting someone in the process, man, getting them nicked as well, right? Do you know what I'm saying? They're trying to stitch me up and they're busting someone as if they're gonna get away with it, like. Do you know what I mean? You just gotta go roll with it, haven't you? And just like think like, wow, I can't believe they stoop so low. The other lad in the picture is still alive now, right? I won't name his name. I should really, shouldn't I? I should like say his name and say, but everyone would just know. You put two and two together, you just work it out if there was anyone watching this that knows me, like, and that, like. But that's a terrible thing to do, isn't it? This is like it's like you see it in films in America and stuff, don't you? You see like movies about drugs and that, like, and stuff like that, like, and you think it's in the movies now. You'd never think of it being done in the real world in your life, would you? You know what I mean? Considering I was on the sick. I was basically on the sick on medication, smoking weed myself, drinking whiskey myself, being a proper manic depressive, and then I'm in a picture looking like fucking super cop all of a sudden. And I swear on a Bible, I'd actually hold a holy Bible and say, no, I'm not involved in that, like, but, telltale signs, some kind of control going on, guys, mind control. They make the girls into sex kittens and all that, like, they make us into, like, coppers and soldiers or whatever, like. Alright. Anyway, that's that subject covered. Anyway, hypnosis police bus sticker. It's got written there on my piece of paper. Right, and I haven't spoken about that before publicly. You know what I mean? I would like want people to know about it, like. But if the lad who got busted's watching, like, he knew. You see, he actually knew because he had knocked the other lad back. Do you get me? He knew. He thought like, well, I didn't. I didn't have any grief with Bruce, did I ever, like? But the person who I said like, no, having weed that week, like, that's what they're like, guys. They're like bitches, mate. They're like, like catty bitches. They'll have you banged up because of it, like. So anyway, I'll wrap it up there, right? Because I think I'm sort of exhausting myself here. Like, that was on, what, 37 minutes. The other video's an hour or something. I've got to string these together tomorrow, like, and put them on YouTube and that. Something to laugh at, I suppose. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's too complicated for people to understand, but I'm hoping you get that one, like, guys, and understand it, like, what I'm talking about. And I've got other things to talk about on a similar level, like how deep it goes, like, with it, in my personal targeted individual, my personal story, like. And I'm telling you straight, guys, it's still going on. It's still carried on after that. Even after that sticker poster, they still carried on trying to set me up. They were accusing me. It rolls into, I'll carry on, my next episode is going to be how it's not setting me up to look like a copper. They're setting me up to look like a homosexual. They're setting me up to look like a junkie. They've tried everything and I'm still going strong and laughing my head off about it, like, do you know what I mean? This is the main thing you've got to learn, guys, is to enjoy the comedy. Just see how pathetic they are, how far they go, like, and it's gotta be the queen behind it, hasn't it? Who else can it be? Who else can it be? It's gotta be her, hasn't it? I've had people threatening me with a knife, kicking off on me with a knife, kicking off on me, like, because they'd smoked crack cocaine and flipped out on me, and I knew he was set up, like, do you know what I mean? So it does get heavier, guys, if you want to carry on watching this series, but please put comments, right? Please put comments below and say, yeah, I want to hear more about this, Bruce, you know what I mean? I'm interested. And I'll tell you more, like, because I want to get it out, and I think it's hilarious. Anyway, I've got to put the pause on, I've got to stop, I've got to wrap it up here, I've got to go to the toilet, basically. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. And it's always good to know people are watching the videos. So yeah, targeted individual parts 4 and 5 this is going to be. Thanks for watching. Roller coaster ride out.